one of the common words used by reviewers for this album, this track, and I think it's the attitude, but also the sound is snotty. Um,
Yeah.
and
And
it
this,
kind of is that, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it is. That's Hey, everybody out there. Welcome back to another episode of the Audiophiles. I'm Andy. That fellow over there in the interesting skull-laden shirt is John. And we are here to do what we always do, which is share music and listen to it and discuss it. And John, you're going to be offering up something for me to go off and check out today. So please, name of the artist, name of the tune.
Okay, thanks, Steve Jobs. And the this is what you're wearing. The artist is Harlem.
Okay. I've been to Harlem, but I've never heard the band.
Yeah. And the track is Friendly Ghost.
Oh, like Casper. Is that something
Mm,
that translated from here to there? Did you guys ever have reruns of that or the
yeah, a little
films?
bit, but not huge.
Yeah, okay.
We know of it, but you know,
Enough to get the reference if it were to be made. That's fair. Okay,
yeah.
cool, cool, cool. All right. Well, let me go off and check out Friendly Ghost by Harlem and come back and give you my thoughts.
I live in a graveyard. I wanna go out, but it's too hot. Yeah, I'm just a see-through Casper the ghost. Oh, I hope you know I wanna get out of here.
Says like surf garage vibes, which, I love. So I'm definitely here for this sound. It's got all that jangly kind of like riddled with reverb sound that I would come to expect from this genre, and I've come to adore from this genre. So yeah, there's a bit of this. On top of all that, there's like, and oftentimes you'll see this in those subgenres of garage or surf or whatever, is this kind of DIY mentality or sound to the whole enterprise, and I think that's on display right now, certainly in these early days. And again, that's something I like and appreciate.
Help me get out of here. I can't stand it. I'm so pathetic. The more critic, the closer you get to the left. The coffin's been messed up, but to the touch it feels just like the coffin. The coffin. I wanna disappear all the time. Probably disappear tonight. You're only happy when you win.
Interesting. I'm not catching all of the words, but obviously there was that "I want to disappear all the time" repeated, which is an interesting, uh, it's an interesting line when the song is seemingly about a ghost, Casper, the friendly ghost. So that's interesting. I don't know how a ghost would disappear. I thought their whole thing was lingering. But yeah, it's fun and it's playful, and I like the energy, and even like the way he delivered that. I don't know if that was like the chorus or the pre-chorus that led into the disappear, but it's dun, 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 and it's just hitting on that one word each line every time it scans, and it's just engaging, and it kind of brings you in. Some nice bass work happening in there as well, but also I'll reiterate, very DIY. So it's rough around the edges, but in an attractive way.
You and me go get out here. Did I do something wrong? 'Cause it's been a long, long, long time. I can't get it out from possessing my cryptic. The closer you get to my love, the coffee's been acceptable to the touch. You feel just like the
Ooh, that bass.
coffee. I'm gonna disappear all the time.
Now the question is, why do you want to disappear? And it's lines like that, and the earlier in the song after the last break, before I just let it kind of play out until the end, he said, "Whatever happened to me? Whatever happened to me making you happy?" Which is interesting, right? Because it's like you're questioning what happened to you, and you're also questioning what happened to your ability to make those you care about happy. And that's an interesting question in a song that is so jubilant in its movement and motions, you know? It does have this sense of like there being pain behind a smiling face. And I've never really thought about it, but I guess the same could be said of Casper. You know, like he's a friendly ghost and he gets along, but why is he stuck in this state of, ghostdom? And how does he get out of it? Friendly ghosts deserve closure. I would assume that even unfriendly ghosts deserve closure. That way they can move on to whatever, realm they can exist in without doing harm or scaring other people. I can't believe I'm investing this much thought into, the paranormal afterlife. But nonetheless, I think that's what they're aiming at here. And there's something, sweet about that, but also sad. And I think that that's kind of the overall gist of this song, or at least that's the vibe I got. Now, I didn't catch every word, but those that I did kind of hinted at or underscored, or you could glean from this kind of situation where there's, sure, there's kindness, but there's also this underlying sadness to that individual. Ghosts, I imagine, are individuals. But yeah, it was really good stuff, really fun. Loved the sort of DIY, jangly, reverby, that interesting guitar noodling during the area where like it had cut out and let the rhythm section carry the song with the lyrics, and then it would inject these, almost dissonant, disjointed bits of like higher pitched, lead guitar work. Quite buried too. It was really fun and interesting to listen to as it unfolded, and I found it kind of charming, even if it was a little ramshackle or haphazard in its approach. That's kind of what made it. That's kind of what gave it that charm. You know what I mean? But yeah, I really enjoyed this track a lot. I'd be interested to hear what John has to say about these guys, learn more about them, and the only way to do any and all that is to get back with the man himself. So let's get back to John and chop this one up some more.
Jimmy Corkill, he's back. So you've had to listen to Friendly Ghost by Harlem. What do you reckon?
It's pretty affable, that's for sure. The track kicks off with the rhythmic movement of the floor tom and snare pattern provided by the drummer, and within seconds the lead singer joins in with "I live in a graveyard," which, if we are talking about ghosts like this friendly one, that would totally check out. And right when he resolves on that word graveyard, the rest of the band joins in. And this all sounds very much cut from a DIY surf garage cloth. And I really appreciate this choppy yet melodic guitar work here. It's in all of its sort of jangly, reverb-laced glory. It's checking box after box. I mean, we both are suckers for anything that would be garage, DIY, jangly, reverby. I mean, just right down the line. There's also a slightly meandering, a bit of bass work beneath, and it helps bring the sound together and provide it this movement. And the singer then follows up the first line by noting that he wants to get out, but it's too hot, and then mentions something about Casper the Ghost. Didn't take that too long for his name to appear. And with a title like Friendly Ghost, it would only a matter of time, I suppose, before that name was dropped. And he notes that he wants to get out of here before imploring for help to get out of here. And the song then ramps up the punchiness a little bit, and the singer delivers a stanza that, while sounding good, is not discernible to these ears. Cut and paste that into every other one of our reactions, whether it's you or me. But I do pick up most of the next one as he sings, "I want to disappear all the time. Help me disappear tonight," which is an interesting sentiment if it's being espoused by a narrator who is a ghost. Um, they it just makes you wonder, like, why are they caught in this state? This liminal state between life and the truest form or the final level of the afterlife. So I just thought that that was kind of curious. There are a couple more lines of exposition that I can't make out before he follows up with the actually quite sad sounding, "Whatever happened to me? Whatever happened to me making you happy?" And this can be read as one sentiment broken up by a pause, or sort of two sentiments packaged up back to back, in that he could just mean "whatever happened to me making you happy," which is sad enough as it stands, or it could be this sort of two sad reflective questions which are inherently connected. One, what happened to me? And what happened to, like, the me that I knew and loved? And what happened to me, or the version of me who could make you happy? So it's this, he's in this state where he can not only make, he can't make himself happy, but he can't make this person that means a lot to him happy either. Um, so yeah, it's just kind of, it's a sad thing to marinate on and reflect on. But it does sound like a recognition of, change for the worse in him. He goes back into the "help me disappear" portion of the song, which underscores the sentiment of this sort of self-loathing that reared its head in the previous stanza, right? I'm starting to get a better understanding of why he's saying these things, but not how he got there. And the guitar cuts out at the 207 mark, leaving just the bass and the drums to carry the rhythm, while the singer questions whether or not he did something bad, as the subject of the song is now, as he puts it, in the worst mood I think you ever had. And while he is delivering these lines, the guitar work kind of needles its way back into frame in the form of these very high-pitched surf rock sounding, noodling about. It's almost dissonant, it's kind of disjointed, it's buried, and I love all that. Like, it's really imperfect, but that is the charm of it all. And it's kind of uneasy, like this guy's feelings about his current situation. So go on.
One of the common words used by reviewers for this album, this track, and I think it's the attitude, but also the sound, is snotty.
Yeah.
And it kind of is that, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. That's that thickness of everything that surrounds it. Not to abuse this kind of gross metaphor, but there is this membrane of shit surrounding the what you're trying to hear, and that's the snottiness of it. But yeah, it's a little off kilter and quirky, but it's also ultimately fun, and that's why I enjoyed it so much. From here, we launch into another pre-chorus stroke chorus portion in all of its choppy garage rock glory, before resolving on one final declaration of "I want to disappear all the time," as the music dissolves. So yeah, it's kind of like I don't know if I've ever invested this, at least in my adult life, this much thought into the different liminal states of ghostdom and how one can transcend this sort of being stuck. Because that's sort of whether a ghost is, benevolent or malignant or whatever, it's stuck where it is, and it ultimately wants to, or we're meant to believe that it wants to transcend to this final resting state, which, is laughable to think about two graybeards talking about this right now, but that is what I've come to understand about it. And so it seems like this friendly ghost is sort of in a similar situation, or at least that's the metaphor for how he feels. So yeah, this was a lot of fun, but there was a little bit of pain behind the eyes of a smiling face to this one, which the music is the smiling face, and even his, delivery, and it's buoyant, but behind that is all this recognition of things not quite right and him not being happy where he is. It was upbeat, it was undeniably punchy and energetic, but it was hard not to notice this displaced feeling in the lyrics. And that's not a critique, but an observation, and one that made me think a bit deeper than just the surface level, especially for a song whose title evokes a children's cartoon about a friendly ghost. I didn't think I'd be doing this much thinking or unpacking, so that's got to be a good thing, right? So yeah, really good stuff. The right amount of DIY attitude, reverb, raucous energy that I tend to gravitate toward anyway. So yeah, you probably knew this was going to some degree, tick a lot of boxes for me, and it did. So tell me a bit more.
Thanks, Andy. First off, an apology. So the reason I chose this track is because a few weeks ago you gave me a song, and as part of that discussion, I said this bit reminds me of Harlem, and I can't remember which song it was.
And neither can I.
No.
Neither can I. Yeah.
So at some point we will find out. I guess. But if any of the viewers can remember me saying that, please drop a comment and help these two poor old men fighting with their memories.
It also goes to show you how many of these episodes we crank out and the volume at which we crank them out. But yeah, it's a fair point.
But having said that, this song's been a favourite of mine since it came out, and I absolutely adore it. And it's got that spirit to it. It's kind of a mixture of Jonathan Richman and the Modern Lovers, bit of Mo Tuck of Velvet Underground, shambolic.
Yeah.
But there's sort of rhythmic patterns to it are sort of great, and that snottiness, as we say.
Yeah. I also love that you used the word spirit for this song, given the subject matter. So it made me chuckle.
And the important thing to remember, of course, is that ghosts don't exist. So
According to my mother-in-law, they only come out at night. That's the rules for ghosts. I was like, I didn't even know ghosts had rules or red tape that they had to worry about. Yeah, they're nocturnal.
yeah, they're invigilated by vampires. Anyway, so they're an American band formed in Tucson, Arizona, which is in the United States of America, in 2007. They've been labeled as garage rock, indie rock, and lo-fi. I don't know where that came from. So the members are Michael Kumas, vocals, guitar, drums, Curtis O'Mara, vocals, guitar, drums, and Jose Boya, bass. So the band, lazy bastard, the band moved to Austin, Texas in 2008, and then self-released their debut album, Free Drugs, semicolon dash right-hand bracket, which is, of course, produces the emoji winky smiley face. Pitchfork gave the album a score of 6.8 out of 10. Can you not just say 7? Writing, what cannot be denied, even at this early stage, is the charm behind Harlem's To Hell With Everything swagger. And Coke Machine Glow gave the album 72 out of 100 and described the album as straightforward but also really honest. The band then signed a multi-record deal with Matador and released their second album, Hippies, in 2010. This is the point I normally point at what's on the wall, but I haven't got the record because it's stupid money. I probably will at some point, but it's really, yeah. So what we have got here, though, is the bio of the band on Matador's website, and it's really fun. So I don't know who the hell wrote this. but it's really interesting. So this is the official band's bio on their record label site. Jack the Ripper was sitting in his kitchen, idly fingering through recipes, when the idea of naming a rock and roll band Harlem first came to him. When he asked his cat, Watermelon, if he should pursue it, his cat said, "Nah, man, British music sucks and you got your own thing going on anyway." But like most cats, Watermelon was tortured by the fact that he, like the sky goddess Frigga, had the power to know the future but was too lazy to change it. As Watermelon grew on in years, he gave the name to a few talented people he came across at bingo parlors and novelty gift shops, notably a town in Poland, a neighborhood in New York, a group of talented basketball players, Renaissance, a Polish steel mill group, and two techno DJs from occupied Berlin. On Watermelon's deathbed, he stated that he was happy he had gotten laid in every state in the US, in brackets, by a local, and that he no longer felt burdened by anything he ever thought might be a good idea but never fully realized. Most people agreed, and his funeral procession was by all accounts the best funeral procession of any cat, brackets, or president, since Garfield's gargantuan body was dragged through the streets of Tombstone, Arizona. But like most happy endings, there is usually a less glamorous prologue inhabited by the notable figures' less reputable lineage. Watermelon's great-grandson, a tabby called Skull Crusher, fell in with a crowd of lowlifes in Nashville, and while high on crystal meth, told two drunks he met in a bar called The Crow that they should consider starting a band with the name previously mentioned. Although far better choices for band names were available, the two decided to strip the word of all social and historical reference and use it to move their version of derivative pop from the small basements of friends' houses to the slightly larger basements of shitty nightclubs. Like the remake of the movie Cat People with Natasha Kinski, the songs they wrote would turn into feral cats that use people's brains as litter boxes. Incidentally, the scene where Kinski turns into a panther is so fucking awesome. The two left Nashville and traveled around the country getting odd food service jobs and cashing inheritance checks from dead relatives. It wasn't until a mysterious accident involving a girl wearing a white zombie t-shirt forced the band to find a permanent residence. After hearing of a town in which no musical instrument had ever been played, the two decided to move to Austin, Texas. And I hope that after the novelty of music wore off in their new home's inhabitants, they would be able to marry wealthy oil tycoons with a taste for only slightly past their prime young men. Unfortunately, the oil tycoons had no interest in anything sexual with anything other than piles of money that they would shape as dollar signs. Then the two men found themselves a gentleman bass player from Mexico City and decided to travel across the country looking for uncomfortable places to sleep. They are currently underwater in a sensory deprivation chamber playing Adam Sandler movies in their heads. So interesting bio. Real fun.
Oh, these write-ups, man, they're too much.
All music, going back to the real world, instead of the album, it's a 16-song blast of youthful energy, a reverbed out racket that combines the fever of garage rock, the rumble of rockabilly, and the slightly warped sensibility of all the great postmodern lovers bands. The group didn't labour much over the sound of the album. It sounds like they just turned up in the studio, which is probably in a friend's garage, plugged in and ran through their set. It gives the record a nice live feel. There's enough variation in the songs to keep it from being a monochromatic slog. The trio plays and sings them all like they were having a great time, like they were just hanging out in somebody's rec room and playing for friends. It's kind of a rare experience in a world of bands that seem desperate to impress, determined to make the shiniest, noisiest, most tripped out records. Bands that are just plain needy. Sometimes it's enough to write really catchy and fun songs and play them with a minimum of fuss. Harlem has done just that on Hippies, and for that, it deserves all kinds of praise. So the lyrics. I live in a graveyard. I want to go out, but it's too hot. Yeah, I'm just as see-through as Casper, the ghost. Oh, I hope you know, I want to get out of here. Help me get out of here. I can't stand it. I'm so possessive. The more you keep, the closer you get to love. The cops whose business double to exert, who feel just, but I can't drop it. You cop it. I want to disappear all the time. Help me disappear tonight. You're only happy when you win. You're whipping gold. We'll all get killed. Whatever happened to me? Whatever happened to me making you happy? I can't stand it. I'm so possessive. The more you keep, the closer you get to love. The cops whose business double to exert, who feels but I can't drop it. You cop it. I want to disappear all the time. Help me disappear tonight. Did I do something bad? Because you're in the worst mood I think you ever had. Did I do something wrong? Because it's been a long, long, long time. I can't stand it. I'm so possessive. The more you keep, the closer you get to love. The cops whose business double to exert, it feels just, but I can't drop it. You cop it. I want to disappear all the time. I will say it's a great album. Really, fairly sort of light listing, rhythmic, attitude, slotty, all those things. I really enjoy it. After touring following this album, they were supporting the Dead Weather in 2010, and then the band went in a hiatus. They regrouped 9 years later in 2019 to release the album Oh Boy, to mostly shitty reviews. Michael Kumers operated a side project called Lace Curtains, where it was mainly a solo thing, but he got a few musicians in, and has released two albums. The acclaimed The Garden of Joy and The Well of Loneliness in 2012, which featured Block Party's Matt Tong on drums, and a Signed Piece of Paper in 2014. Kumers has historically shown a strong distaste for the promotional side of the music industry. In past interviews, he has openly expressed a preference for writing music privately over touring or maintaining a public persona on platforms like Spotify. He does not maintain any public social media accounts, and his current day-to-day creative ventures remain entirely under wraps. So no one knows what he's doing. His bandmate Curtis O'Mara maintains also a relatively low profile, but he's slightly more visible online, shifting his energy towards independent creative projects, art, and local music events. O'Mara runs a public personal profile under the handle Grape Streetsers on Instagram, where he takes inquiries for art, design, photography, and creative concepts. He actively DJ shares music under the banner Total Request Crew, and he occasionally hosts late night dance and request events in Austin, Texas. That's about it, really.
I wonder if the
when
I wonder I do wonder if the critics' attitude and the music media's attitude towards the band soured because of their unwillingness to play ball. Which is fine, and they're entitled to not want to as artists, but sometimes writers will take that out on bands or write them off because they don't want to play ball in the way that the media or critics expect them to.
I've not listened to the third album, but from all accounts, they tried to polish it up a bit, so higher production values, etc. So it lost a bit of that
They watered it down.
Of that sort of DIY stuff. And they're saying that they left they left out the sort of the joy of it, and the sort of expressive side of this DIY stuff.
Yeah.
So it was getting 5 out of 10 sort of reviews, which
I mean, to be fair, then now knowing that, that's kind of on them, and a surprise given how you described them and even how playful and esoteric they are about the whole scene and their image. It just seems odd that they would water down the most charming facet of their aesthetic, which is this sort of that ramshackle charm that they have.
I think perhaps 9 years absence will do that to you if you probably
could
feel
be,
something else,
But
nonetheless, barnstorming album, and this track as well is a belter. I used to put it on sort of like mixtapes or mix CDs for other people. So it's one of the ones definitely that always went down really well with pretty much everybody. It's just an easy, hard not to smile at song when you hear it.
Yeah, for sure. It's exactly
Cool.
it.
I shall wrap things up. Thanks for listening to this, Andy.
Thank you, sir.
Folks out there, please tell us what you think. If you like this, do slap your meaty paw down on the like button and drop some comments. We'd love to hear from you. What do you think of this? Does this remind you of anybody else? Have you heard Harlem before? anything else, if you know that third album, how good / bad it really is. Sorry to bring the guitarist from Guns N' Roses into it, didn't mean to. But yeah, we really want to hear what you think. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. We really appreciate everybody to support the channel. So hop on board, both legs. We're happy to see you. That being said, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see all of you on the next episode of The Audiophiles.
We'll see you later, guys.